In a world, 4 friends, 1 mission, to bring freedom to everyone involved.
Dude, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm doing a thing for the podcast.
Dude, just say the name.
Fine. It's the Freedom Friends Podcast. So that was the second time I got crabs.
You already told us that story.
Oh, maybe it was the third.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
I think we're up to the 5th we're waiting
Did
for.
I tell you about that car wreck I saw this morning?
You did.
I was telling you about it.
Yeah, you told me about
Dude,
it.
that guy was fucked.
Yeah.
I was on my way to the store this morning.
Yeah.
And some car had gotten sideswiped. Like the whole left side was just absolutely jacked. But the other side was all right.
Yes. Fuck boys. That's right. It's time. It's Freedom Friends Podcast time. Brought to you by warfightertobacco.com. Use that code FTFO. Screw yourself that fucking sweet 15% off. And of course, our buddies Icy Tech Coolers. Use that code FreedomFriends10. Get yourself 10% off over there. And our good old buddies for all your CBD needs over at fuck is that? Wellness.us. Jesus Christ. I'm going fast, man. I'm drinking Strike Force and booze. Shit. So, Wellness.us. Use that code FreedomFriends25. Get yourself a quarter off your order over there. Boys, how the fuck we doing?
Good.
It's been a fucking fun talk, everybody.
It's been a long.
All right, I'll just fucking leave now.
It's been a long, fun weekend.
Mike, you just go fuck yourself.
Right? Jesus. So those of you watching, you're going to notice there's another handsome man on the dais today. I got my buddy Rossen with me.
I don't know if I'd call him.
You see a handsome man here.
I don't know if I would call him another. I would call him the only.
Yeah, right. The more attractive of the 5 of us.
It's just because he's
sitting here.
tan. Is that the...
Yeah,
See,
Well, chicks dig accents too. So.
that's also true.
actually, I need to tell you a secret here.
You're faking it. You're stolen valor on the accent.
I'm 4th generation Brit. Do you know how hard actually I work for that accent? Ladies love it. Ladies love it.
So Rossen is the training director for TPC, for Tactical Precision
Performance Center.
Tactical Performance
Performance
Center.
Center.
Yeah, Jesus. Tactical Precision. We were just talking about precision on the
It's
range.
still precision, yes.
It is, yes. And I actually was fortunate enough. I was out at the range today with Rossen, getting some pistol work in, and I fucking learned some shit, man. I learned some good quality tactics and quality fundamentals that are really bringing back the sharpening the skills.
So the next time you guys run across some steel targets while you're out hunting,
That was a little.
These were paper.
yeah.
These were paper.
That was a little Jedi influence over there.
There was, man.
Yes.
No, you fucking crushed it, man. And your philosophy on shooting is, I really dig it, and I appreciate the taking the time, man. I really do. I like it. So
It's always pleasure.
yeah.
Always pleasure.
So how the fuck's the weekend?
It was good.
You're shaved, so it must have been good.
Well,
for you.
no, Michelle just got out of surgery. Actually,
What the fuck?
She had her appendix out, so she's been pretty much laid up since then. So yeah. Yeah.
So you just throwing a wrench in the plans with the
Yeah,
shave?
no,
or-
yeah. I'm just trying to piss her off more, I think.
nice. And I thought you were gonna be gone, man. I thought you were rolling out.
Oh, it's next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that you're here.
Me too.
Yeah, it's always nice to see you.
Thank you.
Jazz over there being successful as fuck in your new adventure.
Something like that.
Something like
We're
that.
not allowed,
We're not talking
we're not
about
allowed
it.
to talk about it.
No?
No, because if I pay too much attention to it, I think it might break.
Yeah, we don't want to
So
change
we're just not
shit.
talking about it.
It's a solid plan.
Yeah.
He's doing fine. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
He's fine.
It's not on fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the level of standard we're going for right now. It's just not on fire.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, it was a good weekend. I had a great time.
Good.
Met a lot of really cool people over the weekend. Some new groups. So yeah, good stuff.
I had a Satmar meetup on Saturday, so Sunday fucking hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One of your Satmore boys is essentially just signing his paycheck over to me about every other day. So I'm a fan of that guy.
Fucking A.
I like him.
He's
Yeah.
good.
I might replace you. He
Right.
might be my new Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Because
right.
I'm a hooker. Like, it is straight up prostitute.
You can be bought.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
100% can be bought. So for you, it's love, but him, yeah, no, that's like,
It's money.
yeah, no, it's 100%.
It's like I'm the John that still gets kissed on the lips.
yeah, but I call him daddy. You're
Right.
like, yeah, no, 100%.
Hey,
Like
man,
that's, yeah.
hey, money's
Yeah.
green, dude.
Yeah,
Business is business.
No, I still love you. Like, you'll
I
get a
don't-
Christmas card, but like, I'll spend that night with him. Like, it'll,
Yeah, sure.
A few minutes
I
of
get it.
fairness here. This is what I'm witnessing. It's fine. It's okay. It's 2022, so it's fine.
yeah,
Totally allowed.
yeah.
Totally allowed.
I'm a capitalist sex addict, so that's just that's what.
Motherfucker, you're European. You guys are way gayer than us, anyways.
Well, depends.
Last time I watched TV in Europe, I turned the TV on. I turned it on. A naked man popped up with a sparkler in his ass crack and started doing laps around the. And I was like, "That's enough of this," and I just shut it back off. And I was like,
That's why I don't own TV. That's why.
"Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's why all Europeans are like, well, I read 300 books last year," and I'm like, "That's because you've turned on your TV at some point." We're just like, "The fuck," and then just turned it back off.
Well, it's
I have
like-
the internet for that shit, so I keep it private. You don't.
And there's many a times when I even like turn on the internet and I'm like, that's enough for today.
Yep.
I'm all set. Got my fill. Didn't need to see that.
You old fuck. When I turn on the internet.
Let's turn on my internet.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that caught that.
So
He was like,
do you know that the internet has that rare quality that it actually pops up what you search for?
Oh yeah, ask him about his
yeah.
slap. His algorithms are all fucked because Jazz fucked with him.
I didn't fuck with him. He just doesn't know what the proper search terms are.
How the fuck do you search for a slap? Then what should I search for?
We'll talk offline or it's going to fuck the whole algorithm for the show.
It just happened. It just happened. Right?
I don't know. That depends. Justin, did you turn the internet on or off for this show? Like,
Yes,
we
it
need
turned
to-
on.
Yeah,
we-
I turned the internet on for the show.
Oh, okay, the internet's
Yeah.
turned on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit
Stay
the
away
big
from
switch.
European sites.
Like,
right?
do we have enough internet for the show? Is there enough?
I don't know. I think we need to bump our internet.
Do we need to like buy more
We
internet?
need to buy more internet.
Okay.
Somebody call the internet and let them know that we need a little more space.
Yeah. I heard if it's not working, you just unplug it and plug it back in. So I'm told.
Every IT department ever.
Can you print the internet?
I don't think so.
I think you can.
I don't know. How
I've
nerd
hit,
even answered you.
I've hit
on?
print on Google, and it's printed
No,
before.
all the internet.
Yes.
You can print it.
Yes.
Probably.
No, you can.
You can. You absolutely can. And actually, you could set up a bot that would just continually scrub the internet and print it as it found it. You could absolutely just print the internet.
It would
The
just-
problem is it would never. You'd never actually hit the end.
This podcast never seems to
Stay on topic.
disappoint me because like we have so much material to cover today and we have nothing but bullshit so far. So good on you boys. But we should maybe introduce our guest.
Do you know what the trick is?
I introduced him.
Consistency.
You introduced him, but nobody knows who he is.
So,
yet.
Rossen,
I'm gonna need.
let's
I'm gonna need.
focus on our
tell us
guest.
a little bit about yourself, buddy. Where are you from? What do you
Let's
do?
keep the mystery.
Yeah, he's listened for 10 minutes now and he already is like regretting this.
He's like, where the fuck am I right now? Jesus.
Well, we're supposed to have another guest, and I can see his face right now, going like, "There's no fucking way I'm getting on that show."
No, actually, I'm intrigued. It can go any worse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have no
Oh,
idea.
yeah, dude, we've been way worse. Oh, yeah, don't worry about that.
The guys used to drink a lot more in the early episodes.
Hey, that's
lot.
still a beginning, right? So
Oh, yeah.
we can catch up.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself, man. Where are you from?
So I'm from Eastern Europe, from Bulgaria. Now the next question is, where is Bulgaria? So if you know Greece, just north from Greece, pretty easy.
Just north from Greece.
Between Romania and Greece.
So do you guys do a lot of like Greek style sex over there?
I can tell you
You guys
about
like
the
sports,
salad.
like Spartans, the Spartan world.
We actually introduce women in sex. So
Was that
okay.
was that a geopolitical way of asking if he was gay?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure I was tracking on the conversation, which was way smoother than mine, because my answer was going to be like, "Where are you from?" and sexual preference. Like that was going to be the.
Is the small animals count?
No, dude.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine.
That's
No.
fine. Okay.
That's just like jerking off with equipment.
Aren't they called furries?
That's only if you're the animal.
No. That's it's what's known as a free range fleshlight.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes.
Oh. I told you the big bucks that are dick and fart jokes. Did I say that earlier?
So it can get worse than that. So that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
From Bulgaria, what do you do, man? What brought you to the United States of America?
Shooting.
Shooting.
Purely shooting, yeah. I love shooting. I love to teach as well. And so one day I decided, why not to go and move actually in the shooting mecca of the world, United States. And hopefully it will stay like this for a long time.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, we're in Texas. We're not worried about it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. By the way, considering moving in Texas, I'm in Utah right now.
Well, Utah's awesome too.
It's awesome. It's great. It's great. I love it there. But Texas is.
It's also gorgeous in Utah.
It really is.
So pretty there.
It is. It's really pretty.
Like all of it is gorgeous.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter where you go.
Especially like in Salt Lake City, where that big cloud hangs over the city all summer. Like it's wonderful.
Even the southern Utah over there, it's red cliffs.
Yeah.
It's really gorgeous for sure.
Well, I used to go to Provo area and like up like to Moab and shit and like do like off-roading, and it was fucking so much fun. It's such a good time.
It's very popular there.
Yeah. And then Provo is like a college town.
Off-roading,
like when I was a younger gentleman, that was a good time, man. I used to love going up there. But
A little bit of soaking.
little bit soaking.
So you came over here to teach shooting.
Yes.
And where did you get your shooting experience?
My background, I served in Bulgarian army for a few years. After that, 7 years for United States Diplomatic Security Service around Europe. Then I have several private contracts, like an instructor in the Middle East area. But, contracting, it's comes and goes.
Always be looking.
Yeah, exactly. And at some point, I decided to move in United States because, as I told you, I love shooting and I love teaching.
So how old were you when you were in the Bulgarian army?
Young, like in 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
See, he could have said 12 and I would not have been shocked.
Yeah.
I'd have been like,
No,
that sounds
that's
about
the
right.
age that we start drinking there.
That's what. See, that's what I got mixed up.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, "Where'd you get your shooting experience?" And I wanted to be like, "He's Eastern European." Like that's
They come
just
out of the
kind of
womb
a
with
way
an
of
AK.
life there.
like at 8 years old, it's like, congratulations, Opa, here's your Kalashnikov.
Yeah.
He's better at long range. My mistake. Here's a Dragunov.
Either way, you're getting something with an off on the end of it.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's like my family name, right?
Unless you're fat. If you're fat, then you're getting a PKM. There you go. You're a machine gunner. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in the States teaching?
So 7 years.
7
already.
years?
7 years.
Yeah.
Close to 7 years. Yes.
Nice.
Now, you're as a teacher, you go from like center to center, right? And train. So you go to like a tactical center and then like help put on classes there, or is most of your stuff digital or like
Traveling around around the country, and I love traveling, and that's a great opportunity for me to see more of America, right?
Sure.
Now, are you
I
mostly
love
dealing with
traveling.
like civilian learners, or are you doing like department and all that kind of stuff? Both.
Both.
on.
So, Tactical Performance Center, the school that we're running, our specialty it's marksmanship. How to achieve the high performance with the handgun rifle, it doesn't matter, with the firearm. So we have very focused for that high level of performance. So marksmanship. And I like to kind of differentiate, combative skills in order to be complex. In my opinion, you need to separate the marksmanship skills, the tactical knowledge, and the ability to apply it in an adequate way, in an adequate situation.
Sure.
And a mindset and awareness. Of course, there was a fourth factor, that's the physical fitness, but especially for civilian part, you are what you are. If you decide to change your lifestyle, that's awesome. It contributes, but
Dude, we don't even want to run a mile. So
Yeah,
We're doing a mile run for charity, the four of us. And we're always looking for reasons to get out of it.
like all of you combined to run the mile and to
we
finish
need
the
to
mile.
talk about that.
relay race, man. Fuck.
No, it's a race. It's a race, not a relay. Because then who are we racing? It's a race.
Well,
God
we still do lap times.
You're all racing death.
It,
is who you're
it doesn't matter. Both
one
words
lap.
start with R anyway, so it doesn't matter so much.
Yeah.
Relay race.
So the big goal though with you is like maximum efficacy with fewest amount of rounds is essentially.
Not necessarily with the fewest amount of rounds, but the ability to control the firearm and to achieve excellent accuracy under speed.
Okay.
So that's the marksmanship aspect
Right.
Yeah.
of combative skills.
Like today, we worked on control pairs.
Correct. Control
You know,
pairs.
and
They
shooting
can.
off reset and stuff like
Right.
that. Like, I mean, it was very fundamental based. You know, and it was nice. It was.
Sometimes you got to like all the high speed stuff's fun.
You got to bring it back to basics.
Like going
man.
out to Jesse's place and getting to play at RDI
You know,
and just getting to
sure.
do goofy shit is a blast. But sometimes you just have to sit there and be like 2-round reflexive fire from an off ready position and just know how to put 2 rounds on target and then read the target afterwards and see where you're at and then just and build that in. You start losing that over time though, because you always want to do the cool high speed shit. And you forget that foundational element is where all that cool high speed shit comes from.
Sure.
You let that
It is.
shit go, and all of a sudden, all that high speed shit just starts falling apart.
It just becomes high speed and no accuracy.
Right? So then it's just it's accuracy by volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I put enough down there, I'll hit something.
I mean, that's the machine gunner's fucking motto, bro.
True story. Accuracy by volume.
Well, in civilian environment, that can be a problem, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of
it's-
unintended targets.
It's only
that
a
gets
problem
involved.
for the people downrange.
Yeah. I'm fine behind the gun. I don't know what their problem is. Fine.
Yeah.
Well, it's awesome, dude. Fucking.
So we work in control pairs, but
Yeah.
People stuck in that control pair, double tap, whatever, hammer pair. Control pairs add one more shot and becomes triplets, right? It's
Sure.
so just add one more and one more and one more. The ability to fire multiple shots in a rhythmic way,
Yeah.
right?
So one of the big things that we always drilled in the Marines was failure drills, right?
Yeah.
So which was controlled pair to the chest, and then failure drill was obviously the one to the head. So it was 2 to the chest, 1 to the head, right?
It can be 4 or 5 in the chest, 1 or 2 in the head.
Absolutely.
It depends.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking world's your oyster, baby. You can do it. You know what I mean? But fuck. But yeah, that was
How many to the chest? How many ever I can put before he hits the ground? Like that's,
right? See,
Isn't it
Can
quick?
you count in the
Isn't it
in the
quicker
high
just
level
to
of stress?
shoot
Probably
1
not.
in the head instead of 5 in the chest first?
Listen, sniper. Fuck out of here.
all I know is that after our last conversation, I am only operating on the Stevie Nicks model from now on. That's
What's that?
only operating on the Stevie Nicks model.
That's right.
That's my entire approach to all tactical.
Sounds like she's singing.
If I yell out like a white winged dove and they do not respond with the proper thing, it's at least 3 hot ones. That's how that's going down.
At least 3, yeah.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. So you got some training classes. You're here in Texas doing some. You're out at Lone Star Handgun,
Yes.
who is a friend of the show. Josh Felker, the proprietor of that place. It's a great range south of.
And I would just
San
like to
Antonio.
say thank you for having steel available.
Right? Like, I really enjoy that place because of that.
I understand the
Steel.
applicability of shooting at paper and understanding control and bringing that group together. and
Which you
stuff
have
like
that option there too.
I totally get it.
Paper doesn't lie, though. It keeps you
Paper
honest.
doesn't lie and it keeps you honest. But it is very satisfying to pull the trigger and hear bang, ting. Like it's a lot of fun. But I do understand the importance of paper because paper is you hear those people that are like, I don't give a fuck how tight my group is if I can make the steel ring. And it's like, yeah, but under a stressful environment, if in a non-stressed environment, you're nice and tight. And so you lose some of that in a stressful environment, but it's still within center mass, you're just a better shooter. And the paper, like you said, the paper doesn't lie. If you're out of control and the rounds are everywhere,
it will keep you honest.
it will keep you honest. But
Yeah.
a ring every time
It is kind of nice.
I struck, it's great. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't actually dial you in. But it is fun.
And we talk about that, how to read the group patterns and how to immediately diagnose, understand, realize your mistakes, and fix it on the fly.
Yeah.
With a paper, you cannot achieve that with a
So
steel.
slightly off
Steel is fun.
topic, but I like asking instructors this question about how you feel about optics on handguns.
I think that will become pretty soon. It will become a new standard.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
well,
you're pro optic on a handgun.
Uh,
Or you're just saying
I
we're
mean,
trending to the way where they're so available
like,
that it's just going to become a standard.
His EDC, he runs no optic. He runs iron sights.
oh, I run some optics as well.
Do you? Well, I'm
but-
just talking about the EDC I've
You
seen
know,
you carry today.
if you know how to shoot the iron sights, you adapt to the red dot
Well,
quite
and
easily.
that's kind of the military standard, right? It's like we all learn how to shoot on iron, and then you don't go into optic
That's
until
a core
after
skill.
you're
that's
proficient
how
with
it
iron.
was.
Core
It's not how they're doing
Okay.
it these days.
Well,
but
my
our
army-
generation, absolutely.
God, well, I can't believe I'm old enough to be able to say that. Well, in my
Back
army,
in my day.
In my army, with the iron sights were the standard, and then you got optics later. But
Not old, wise.
yeah, see, there you go. But I do
Salty.
Even when you guys actually helped me train my wife because she hadn't really been on a weapon. Well, you did. You provided. You were like, I will give you any gear or advice that I can, but if you want me to go stand in the heat, that shit's not happening. That's not good.
One of us has to work.
right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the warfighter guys helped train my wife before she went to Mammoth.
Our wives.
Our wives trained both of them, but like my wife had never really been behind a weapon. You had some range time with Haley,
A little bit.
but my wife literally never even picked up a weapon. And so when we went, we started with, okay, here's how you just shoot through iron sights. Like, we are going to get as basic as hell. I'm not putting you behind all this beautiful vortex glass if you can't just fire a standardized just weapon. And then it was great because that was kind of my thing, and all of my stuff. I run LPVOs, long range. I'm fucking useless. I absolutely can't do it. Now my wife can shoot much further than I can, but that was thanks to these guys.
That just means you have Overwatch now.
Sure. But
That's always helpful.
but it's
always helpful.
But that's why I asked about the optics on a handgun, because there's kind of the two rules of thought of like, if you're good with the iron, stick with the iron because the iron will never fail. But a lot of these optics now are so damn good that that failure point model is kind of
the failure comes when your batteries die or some shit, right?
yeah. But
and if you take somebody and you teach them an optic first, they're going to depend on that.
Right. It's hard to come down from that once you're used to it. So that's why I was asking about how
There's
you
always,
feel about
there's always
optics
pros
on
and
handguns.
cons, right? There's always pros and cons. Pros, first, it's way faster if you grasp the concept how to shoot a red dot really fast. Also, you don't need to align like
two things,
4 points, basically target, front sight, rear sight, and you shooter's eye. You just put a red thingy on the other thing and pull the trigger, and you're right there if you have a proper trigger pull, right?
Yeah.
It's really fast.
The fuck are you doing?
I can't hear him. I want to make sure his mic's picking up. Like
I can hear him.
I'm hearing him naturally.
Should I speak a little bit
I can
louder?
Okay. I was just hearing him naturally. I
I
wasn't
thought
hearing
you
him
were
through
having
my
like a
headset.
tinnitus moment.
No.
Ross, get a little bit closer to the mic for us.
I can do that.
Yeah,
That's for
sure.
sure.
Now fuck that mic.
This thing will move, dude.
Yeah, you don't have to. There you go. Leave it closer. I wanted to make sure you hadn't like come unplugged or something, because all I was hearing was like a natural voice, and I was like,
Because I'm a natural guy.
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you also have good info, and I want to make sure that it's getting out there.
Sure.
So.
I like the red dots. Extremely fast, extremely accurate. Again, it's all about the awareness and vision, fast vision.
Yeah.
There's misconception that a lot of people were complaining, oh, I cannot shoot red dots so fast like an iron sights because that thing is always wobbling there and I cannot make it stabilized. The truth is that you don't need to make it stable.
Well, and the truth is, you're when you're using iron sights, it's doing the same fucking thing.
Exactly.
Like it's
just more evident. It's just more evident through a red dot.
You just see it. Yeah.
The red dot just shows you that you're not perfect and you cannot stay perfectly
Again,
still.
keeps you honest.
Yeah.
You know?
I've really enjoyed transitioning to an optic on my handgun because of the difference in shooting. Because I just feel like I'm seeing my field of fire more and everything, and just relying on the natural dot to just kind of float out there. I feel like I'm more aware of what's going on in my field of fire and my peripheral by having the red dot, just because it's a shooting method difference of dealing with iron. But
speaking of which, probably the biggest benefit of a red dot is that you can keep your focus on the threat or respectively the target.
Because I'm always looking downrange, I'm not focusing back to the weapon. So it's just, and that's why I like it.
You're not looking at your front sight tip,
right?
Rather than
and looking for it's not hard front sight and a blurred target. It's a solid target, and then both eyes open and letting it relax, and that dot just floats out there. I just feel like I'm more engaged with what's downrange as opposed to just engaged with my weapon.
You know, at the moment that you actually have a threat, automatically your vision will focus on that threat. That's how things happens, right? That's 1,000 years of evolution. You need to look at that saber-toothed tiger that it's stalking behind the bushes, right? So your subconscious mind automatically will shift your visual focus on the threat. Now, when you're shooting iron sights, depends how difficult that target is. That means how close or how far it is or how big it is. you need to shift that focus back to the front sight as much as necessary to be able to see a proper alignment.
Right.
And that's what we call the focal yo-yo. And it takes time because, basically what's happening there physiologically, it's the lens is contraction. There's a contraction in the lens there is a little ring of muscles that calls ciliary muscles around the eye lens, and they contract. That takes time.
Yeah.
Like any other muscles, they can be conditioned to contract more or less, faster or slower.
Right.
But it's taking time. Now with the red dot, you can leave that focus all the way back to the thread, and you don't need to shift back. So you don't need to have that focal yo-yo. So you're doing one function less.
Absolutely.
That brings the speed up,
All
speed
right,
of engagement.
All right, that makes
Makes sense?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that I like about shooting on a red dot is you lose that focal breathing. So that transition time of going between focusing on what's downrange and focusing on my weapon and then focusing on what's downrange again. I can stay downrange all the time.
Correct.
And it's a severe advantage.
I remember my PMI in boot camp, primary marksmanship instructor, the way he did that, the way he explained blurry target and front sight tip clear and all that, right? He's like, think of it this way. He's like, you're looking at your target. My target is Jennifer Lopez, but my wife is my front sight tip. I'm looking at Jennifer Lopez, but not really. And I was like, all right, like a whole bunch of dudes sitting on bleachers. We're all like, got it. He's a good teacher. I was like, all right, there it is. So
there's several words actually that can describe that. If you dare.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
So what's your thoughts on? So there's a lot of choices for red dots, and there's like the 4 minute of angle dot, the 2 minute of angle dot. What do you prefer as an instructor for people to use?
That's a personal choice. I personally prefer 2 MOA.
Or the
dot.
the
I
smaller
prefer a little bit smaller.
Yeah, me too.
There are some great shooters that prefer a little bit bigger, up to a 6 MOA.
That's crazy.
It's a personal choice. Yeah. It's a personal choice. Now,
I've landed on the hollow Sun Reticle, which is a 2 MOA dot, and then it has like a 10 MOA like staggered ring around it, and I like that. It's very quick to acquire, and it just floats a little bit more.
That's what I got for Haley. Yeah.
I find the acquisition on it really nice, and I like the 10 MOA circle because it kind of gives me a left and right limit on center mass at most engagement range is kind of where I'm seeing where the edge of my field of fire is.
It's because you're bracketing the target, which makes it's easier, but you're probably not aware that that's what you're doing. But
well, there you go. Yeah. So I was accidentally being high speed.
Right.
Yeah. I run a 1 MOA red dot.
Yeah, I did too.
Because smaller point of aim.
You and I talked about that actually, and you said that you liked it because it didn't obscure your target as much.
Well, it's smaller point of aim.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Smaller
That's
chance of
on
missing.
your 365.
No, it's on my 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know what that is. I think it's a 325 on
that's a pretty small dot.
on the 365s, right?
Yeah, so I
I
run
think it's a
the
2 MOA.
mine's the
Yeah,
Hollow Sun,
maybe.
the 5 series one. So it's got the 2 MOA dot with the circled reticle around it. So like you said, I'm bracketing my target, but it's
I think that's what I got Haley. That same one.
the acquisition's really nice. The other thing is that the other thing that I found with it is that even slightly off angle with it, I'm still getting acquisition of it. Some of those red dots that I found, if you get slightly off angle, it'll disappear in the screen.
Yeah.
So then you're coming back, which is a nice reminder of like, hey, you're probably not directly behind your weapon, but sometimes you need to pull the shot and you're not directly behind your weapon. So
That's how you curve the bullet.
Fucking whipping
that bitch around.
Whipping
That's what I'm
curveball.
looking at. I'm looking at the fuck's her name?
Jennifer Lopez.
No.
And you're shooting around your wife.
No. No, the one with the lips that could suck start a leaf blower.
I don't know.
She was married to Billy Bob Thornton.
There's
Come
so
on,
many.
audience.
Which one?
Angelina Jolie.
There you go.
Yeah, she was in the Curve Your Bullet thing.
Oh, wanted. Yeah.
Wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a quick remedy for you.
Uh-oh.
Just stiffen your wrist, keep the same wrist angle each and every time. And
Yeah, it
that
doesn't-
dot will
it-
be exactly in the center.
It doesn't
of that
happen a lot. It
window.
was stuff like I've been out training with Jesse, and it was like trying to shoot from your back and stuff like that.
Quit
But-
lip wristing it, you
Quit
Sally.
lip wristing it. It's like when I was firing some
We can
dude's
fix your
1911. I was firing some dude's 1911 that had a suppressor on it, and he was telling me that I was limp wristing the weapon, and that's why it wasn't cycling. And I was like, yep, nope, that's not what's happening here. Like, I just don't think your weapon works right. Like,
That does happen. That is 100% true story. You've had customers that came into the gun store like, my gun doesn't cycle.
Yeah.
We take it to the range, like, it works just fine. But come to the range. So we go to the range and I watch and I'm like, oh.
yeah, so I wasn't having that problem.
Haley gets furious because like her 17 would keep fucking up.
Cycle issues.
She got real good at tap rack bang.
Yeah.
Granted, she was also using dog shit ammo at the time, but fucking when I pick it up and I'm like, blah, 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 I'm like, fuck are you talking about? This like runs perfect. What are you talking about? She's like, what the fuck, man? She's mattered shit. I'm like,
You guys
she's
were,
like, I'm doing something. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like,
you were on that shoot. And he handed that 1911 to like 4 people, and like 4 different people had problems cycling that 1911 with a suppressor on it.
like I shoot 1911s.
Yeah,
and
that thing was
dog shit.
wonky.
Yeah, it was weird.
pretty,
It was very pretty,
But
because it was like a legit Colt, very nice fucking.
but it was one of those like I made all these modifications myself. And I
You
was
lost
like,
me at Colt and very nice.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Like, well,
it was a Colt and it was pretty. Like,
that's why. If you notice, all I said was it was pretty.
yeah, it was pretty.
But it was one of those like I was like I made all the modifications myself, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, but it's me. That's why me and the other 3 guys that shot this all had cycle issues with this weapon.
I have a 1911.
Is it shooting full auto?
No,
Okay.
I have a
That's fine
1911, but I don't say anything about it. I just hand it to people and let them shoot it. And they can make their own opinion.
it shoots wonderfully.
And it's a fucking phenomenal gun.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be like, this is the best 1911. You need to go shoot this.
Yeah,
You know, because now I have expectations and who fucking knows?
I'm a fan of mine. I have that SIG Desert Scorpion. I fucking love that.
Those
thing.
are nice.
That 1911 was a little too threeper for me.
That one was very threeper.
Yeah, it was a
Threeper-esque.
little too threeper for me.
So like my first handgun I bought was a 1911. I have a Springfield.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It shoots great.
I have a Springfield.
I still don't
like,
have
I'm a
one.
big fan of it. It's very nice.
like
I own
the-
2. I
the
own that one and
handgun
I
I
own the
want.
SIG.
But I don't have is an actual 45 caliber 1911.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like the one thing that I want. That was my first pistol I'm lying to you. My first pistol was the Judge.
Scott had a really nice 1911. It was made in 1918.
Yeah.
And that fucking thing would shoot.
That's because he picked it up from the factory.
Yeah.
It would shoot lights out. It
Like,
did.
He got issued that bitch in
No, the funny part is
WWO.
he's like, oh, somebody came into the gun store and he wanted to sell it, so I bought it from him. Nobody else was there when this transaction happened.
It's because he just brought it in from his home collection.
Likely story, sir.
All I'm saying is that
Rosin, if you don't understand what we're talking about, he's actually immortal and is served in every major conflict since Charlemagne.
he's actually the inspiration for Highlander.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah.
How many lives?
There can be only one.
It's the movie
He's the
The Old
inspiration
Guard.
for Highlander because he's one of the only ones you'll ever meet with an actual samurai sword.
Yeah.
There's only one reason to own something like that, and that's because eventually they're all going to come together, and there can be only one,
Yeah.
and his
But
weapon
at
is
the
around.
end-
That's why nobody's allowed to touch it.
I'm pretty sure he actually folded it himself.
Regardless, at the end, it will be only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you need to find somebody to cut your head. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Eventually.
I've seen pictures of Scott, and I've seen pictures of Browning, but I've never seen a picture of those two in the same place.
Boom.
That's probably the nicest thing anybody's ever called me.
So, Rosin, another reason I wanted you to come on is last week we got into the conversation around socialism and communism, and you being Bulgarian, and you're what, 42 years old?
A little bit higher.
A little
but,
bit up there, early
keep
mid
it there.
40s, yeah.
Whatever.
You're roughly Scott and I's age. Well, minus a couple thousand for him. But
I'm getting wiser.
you're,
let's say.
you're roughly my age.
I'm getting wiser.
The reason I wanted to bring this up, man, is you lived through the fall of the USSR.
And the entire Eastern Bloc, because
Yeah.
Bulgaria was not part of the USSR, but was part of.
But you
the
remember when
Eastern
Yugoslavia
Bloc.
was a thing.
Oh, of course.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you were fucking
Sure.
Slavic because you're Slavic, right? So, like,
Yeah, the Eastern Bloc,
Yeah.
all that countries, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary,
Yeah.
All my favorite AK manufacturers.
Right.
right? Bulgaria
And
still,
bam,
it's sitting there, arsenal.
Yeah.
yeah, fuck yeah.
Like it's known like a Circle 10 here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the funniest story ever. I came here in the United States and everybody's talking about Circle 10 AK, Circle 10 AK. You know, so it's a digit 10 in two circles. But I don't know if anybody knows the story, but in a Warsaw Pact, that's an Eastern Bloc kind of alternative of NATO at that point.
Yeah.
There were so many military factories that are producing a heavy weaponry and stuff. And each one of that factory, they had a specific number.
Right.
So there was a Circle 9, Circle 11, Circle 12. And it happens that Arsenal that producing the AKs was a Circle 10, which is, it's the same logo. Which, and everyone's
Nobody knows that shit.
that's the story behind the Circle 10.
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
It literally means factory number 10.
It just went to that factory.
exactly.
That's all it is. It's nothing cool.
It's still just an egg.
Yeah, it's stamped metal, and that's it. And so,
But it will fire
There's a
all
different.
the time.
but
There's
you can dig it up after 20 years, and it'll fucking shoot fire.
Well, you got to shake it out a little
There's
bit.
a difference in AK manufacturers, though. Not all AKs are equal.
Yes,
fucking
that's for sure.
Take it from the guy who owns a single stack like a chud. Yeah, I know. Fucking
Now
thing.
that my workshop's up and running again, we need to talk.
Oh, I got a guy for it already.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I got a guy. He's like, fucking send it to me. We'll do it right now.
Well, now that I can vice it properly.
Yeah.
But when you asked me the first time, I was like,
You were not in the position. No, I talked to the guy at Palmetto State, and he's like, fucking send it to me. He's like, I got a guy. I'll do it. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if a fucking gunsmith wants to do it for free, and he said if he fucks it up, he'll replace it. I was like, deal.
just fucking trade them. Get them to send one of their fucking lowers.
Right?
Then you don't even have to fuck with it. You just have a double stack one.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'll talk to him.
what's your rifle of choice today?
I like ARs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AR-15s.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's tried and true, man, at this point.
Actually, I have a nice cutie, Cobalt Kinetics,
Oh,
12-inch.
Right.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shows so smooth, really nice. I like because it's the ergonomy behind it. It's fast. It's easy to control. It's very accurate, and it's way more accurate than the AK. AK functions in any kind of environment because tolerances.
Yeah. Loose tolerances.
Loose tolerances, but
AKs have a tolerance?
kind of.
It's loose.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's just
Spit on it.
yeah. In the same vicinity.
Yeah.
That's the tolerance.
A squirted CLP over here, it'll work.
Oh,
That's
believe me, AK have that tolerances like Imri. We'll see Imri in a second. He likes to say it. He has a tolerances like a dirty whore.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. So,
Politically incorrect a little bit.
like I
Doesn't
had
matter.
mentioned, you lived through legit communism and social regime change.
Yeah.
And like you were telling me earlier, like, dude, like, bro, I was in high school when this shit went down.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, high
fucking,
school.
Like,
Yeah,
like
so-
I fucking vividly remember.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
all of this, you know?
Absolutely.
So often on times, like we get into the conversation about this last one was about mandatory service, and which is definitely a socialist thing in some aspect. And we'll talk about this with Emery, who's going to be on after you. So everybody after Roz,
I don't know, man. He's
Rossen's on here.
shaking his head about this whole like being on this show thing at this point.
But Emery's Israeli, so he's going to get on and actually fucking speak intelligently about IDF. and
All right, because
whatnot,
you were. We'll get to that.
Yeah. But you grew up in that socialism, communism, like environment.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about like what experiences you've seen and then how like and why?
Highlight the good aspects of it for
Yes,
us.
the good and the bad, honestly.
This ought to be a short list.
on paper it sounds like a fucking great time, right? But
And that's the idea, you know.
because
to
we talked
hide
about earlier, it's
behind
control.
beautiful words, right?
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
it's
Are we talking about conceptual communism or conceptual socialism?
conceptual communism? Because behind socialism, that's
Okay, so
supposed to be
Conceptual communism only works within a utopian society because as soon as you put in a ruling class that can actually govern communism, it fundamentally breaks and becomes socialism.
Right.
Like you can't, because as soon as you have a ruling class, you no longer have full equality within the mass. So
Correct.
now you have socialism. Communism breaks as soon as you have a leadership class.
and that's the controversy of the idea.
Yeah, so it only works within a utopian society, which doesn't exist.
They never
So
would.
that's why it only works on paper. As soon as you put it into practicum and somebody has to institute the policy, you now have a ruling class and a subordinate class. That's socialism. It's not communism.
There's one main factor over there behind all that ideas, and that's a part of the human nature.
Yeah.
Right.
It's called ego. And ego always strive for power and control, right?
And,
So
but
if
ego
you
isn't always
centralize-
necessarily negative.
No.
Like ego can be incredible. Like your strive for not only excellence in your craft, but to train others in the craft and being confident enough in your craft to train others is a form of ego.
It is.
But it's ego for a constructive purpose.
Correct.
But when you get into a socialist construct and ego gets involved, that's for centralizing power and monopolizing it. And that's ego in a destructive class. So it's an application. So I totally agree with you. I just want to make sure for the listeners that we're not saying that ego is a bad thing. It's just ego and how it's being used is
Correct.
really where it boils down to.
Correct, it is, but it's also the ego. It's probably the biggest drug in the planet in general. So
Sure.
if you achieve something, and if you're not aware about that, that ego can grow and grow and grow, and that ego will start to want more and more and more, right?
Right.
And you start to want more money after that. If you achieve a certain level that money are not a factor anymore, you start to want more power and more control, and you want to completely dominate. So if somebody asks me what's the biggest drug in that planet, I should say that it's a power. It's a power, and it's exactly like a drug. You go in that rabbit hole and never stops. It's never enough for you.
Yeah.
And that's part of the human nature, that all that beautiful ideas on paper.
It breaks as soon as you start putting it into practice.
And I think that's the biggest problem of the modern society, that we have forgotten one thing that I think is very, very important, especially in these days, and that's philosophy.
Yeah.
Philosophy.
Right.
Philosophy is gone these days.
Well,
it means there are
it's
still
because
philosophical schools, but
there's
they
no
are more
nuance.
underground. Yes.
There's no nuance. There's no back and forth anymore. It's the line in the sand has been drawn, where it's like, now it's just so polarizing. It's either you're with me or you're against me. And it's like, that shouldn't be the case, man. And
that's a tool for control.
Yeah, 100%.
But he's absolutely right.
100% agree.
But it turns into
Division.
the ego thing, right?
So,
like it's the ego
sure.
thing once again. Because even looking at philosophy, even if you look at it, now you hear this whole like, well, yeah, it didn't work in Bulgaria. It didn't work in Lebanon. It didn't work in Russia.
They
It
always
didn't
use
work in
fucking Finland or fucking whatever. And it's like, fuck off.
Or it turns into they just didn't know what they were doing. I could do it better. And it's that ego thing yet again. And it's like, no, I've totally got this figured out.
I can question that. I can question that.
I think the core of this question is, how do you explain what we're talking about to a 22-year-old in high school that's
the fuck is a 22-year-old doing in high school?
or in college, sorry. The 22-year-old. Calm down.
It's repeating
Gen
grades.
Z, baby.
It's repeating grades.
Holy
Weak student.
shit.
That's that motherfucker who doesn't know how to point out Bulgaria on a map.
A
Doesn't matter. Close your
22-year-old
eyes and point somewhere.
a 22-year-old who's in college kind of being indoctrinated to socialism is a good thing. Like, how do we
What are they feeling the burn?
Yeah, how do we, like why
Basically,
and why are college teachers who really aren't going to be powerful or whatever, why are they so like in on this like socialism's a great
Because they
thing?
read Marx and think that he fucking made sense.
Right. It's pretty on paper.
It's pretty on paper. And because they're so academic.
It's like a 1911
They're
with a
academic,
really
but
good
they
powder coat job.
didn't do their homework.
Right.
They didn't study the deep origin of that idea in general.
They didn't talk to anybody. They didn't get out there and fucking talk to people who fucking lived it. You know what I mean? They just read the fucking pretty words on the paper and they were like, this looks better.
Well, no, it's what he
And it's
talked
like-
about. It's
They
the
didn't
lack of
even,
philosophy
read,
thing. There's
deep
no
enough.
history. Yeah. Or they'll just read the Marx piece, which is very pretty on paper.
Sure.
But they didn't read any of the history that comes along with people that believed it and put it in action. They don't read any of the periphery. It's the philosophy piece that they don't get into.
Or they only look at fucking Finland or fucking,
Everybody
Whatever
brings
the
that
fuck.
shit up. Like they'll bring up like the Netherlands. So, like, well, the Netherlands is socialist. They stopped being socialist in the 80s.
yeah.
Like,
Because it didn't
they
work.
haven't been. It was like 8 years, and they were like, "This sucks." Like, our country is tanking, and they got off of it. Like,
Everybody throws Sweden in the mix also.
with their fucking, 40% tax rate?
Does anybody know what's going on in Sweden right now?
No.
They have fucking mass riots all across their country.
Sweden is also the fucking motherfuckers that did euthanasia until like what, the late 80s?
They have parts of their country where government officials and law enforcement aren't allowed to go into.
Yep. They've become self-governing like city-states.
And not in a good way.
No.
Yeah.
But nobody talks about that.
I think more
That's,
Detroit.
you know, it's the shiny fucking picture, you know, that everyone wants to same like what you guys are talking about with socialism and these young kids. It's that shiny picture. They're like, oh, well, you know, this is fucking perfect. It's like, have you ever been anywhere where that's the case? Like, I'm willing to bet you haven't. Because if you spend 5 minutes in a place that has even a smallest hint of socialism, you're going to be like, oh, this is a bad idea.
Oh, and you can probably speak to this. It's good for about the first 12 months. Like everything seems great for about the first year. And then it just all nosedives. Like just
go live in an inner city part in any major city in the United States. And the part where when you go to fucking talk to people and they're like, yeah, don't go there. Go live there for a month and then tell me how socialism works.
go to Detroit.
Yep. Go to Flint. Go hang out in Flint, Michigan.
Well, that's the biggest problem there is actually just that water system. But Detroit put in so many socialist programs. Hell, look at Minneapolis, Minnesota right now. I have one of my vendors is headquartered out of there. They literally pushed their entire staff to work from home out of their corporate office. And I'm talking about people that work, and not because of COVID, they work 12 miles from the corporate office. And when they lifted everything and could have gone back to work, it is so fucked up in that city right now that for the safety of their people, they're like, nope, everybody's work from home.
Yeah.
The general thing about that idea is if you look from a philosophical perspective, it's to sacrifice the individual creativity that we are all blessed, right? To common good idea.
Right.
How that should work, though.
Yeah.
It means what differentiates us from the animals. That's the ability of a critical thinking and also the individual creativity, right? That makes us a Homo sapiens.
Absolutely.
And if you sacrifice that,
thumbs make us different than animals.
No, monkeys have thumbs.
Monkeys got thumbs. And they got thumbs on their feet, man. They're fucking better than us.
That's why they're different.
if you're willing to sacrifice that, you become the idea of, bees or ants, right?
And the problem
they
is
work for a common good for one queen, let's say.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ants.
Okay.
Ants is socialism properly at work.
Yeah.
Everybody functions for the health and well-being of one creature.
And that's the only time it's ever worked.
But I wonder if
Literally, that's the same algorithm over there.
Yeah,
It's the same algorithm.
but that's literally where you get the term drone. None of those ants function on any sort of personal anything.
But I wonder if like the really motivated ants get pissed off and kill the ants that don't do shit.
No, the ants, the hive actually,
You know what I mean? Like,
the ants that are essentially that deviate get killed off. The ones that are essentially broken, they just kill them all off.
I guarantee you all of this changes once we introduce ants to the internet.
Well, only if they turn it on. Well, Rossen, dude, thanks, dude. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, man, and just providing a unique perspective on that topic.
How long are you in town?
Here in San Antonio?
Yeah.
We just arrived, a
week ago?
week ago?
Yeah.
Week ago, yeah.
So how long? When do you leave?
St. George, Utah.
No, when do you leave?
When do you
When are
leave?
you departing?
When I'm departing, it's mid of next month.
Yeah, mid-May. He's here for a while.
Oh, nice.
He's here for a
Dude,
bit.
I would love to sit down and have some drinks with you and talk
Sure, absolutely.
more about this because
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to bore
Oh,
these
yeah.
guys, but
Yeah.
I feel like you and I could have some really good conversations about the application of political philosophy and stuff.
At the end, everything goes back to philosophy.
I would love to sit down and have a very long conversation about this with you.
I will be glad to do that. Let's do
Also,
that.
if you guys are interested, listeners out there, and you're in the San Antonio area, May 6th, 7th, and 8th, you got a pistol class out at Lone Star Handgun going. And we'll put the link for the registration in the description of the video. Highly encourage you guys. Like literally 20 years in the industry of shooting, and I learned some shit today. So although John seen me shoot a pistol,
I didn't say anything.
I know you didn't.
say
I
anything.
appreciate you.
I didn't. I wasn't even there.
So I want to jump here and talk a little bit about what people can expect from that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please do.
no,
Please
absolutely.
do. Yeah.
The class is called Handgun Mastery. So that's a TPC philosophy, which is actually carrying the legacy of Ron Avery, which is a very well-known name in the industry.
Absolutely.
Sadly, we lost around 3 years ago. He passed away from after a long battle with cancer, but he was one of these thinkers that focused actually to find the principles behind everything, and he defined the principles behind performance with a firearm. Now, the different thing about that class is that I have the pleasure and honor that Imre, the next guest here, from Tactical Rifleman and Prime Combat Training, that's actually his own company. He will be the other instructor in the class. So if you want your butt to be kicked or to be shouted and to hear some uncensored speech over there, you will have that pleasure to do that.
So you can either have...
So it's either philosophy or drill sergeant.
Those
Those are the two that you can get.
You're
here.
going to get a well-rounded education in this class.
It's far from drill sergeant, but it's a pure aggression. I'm just joking.
Nice. So I think for our listeners out there, so you know, I think what we're going to do, because you had so much good information and he's kind of a different approach, is we're going to break this week's episode into two parts. So you're going to be like episode 1A, and then we'll have a B for Imre. So why don't you go ahead, Mikey, and kick the sign off on this one instead of trying to do this hot swap.
Also,
so that we'll break this into two topics and keep it clean, because I want his stuff to be featured as an episode, and then we'll do another episode. It's a little cleaner.
What language do they speak in Bulgaria?
Bulgarian.
Guess what? Let me think about it. Bulgarian?
All right. In Bulgarian.
I fucking like this dude. God damn
Every
it.
time I ask what they speak in Mexico, it's not Mexican, I've been told.
Yeah,
so
it is.
it's Spanish.
It's Spanish.
So my ignorance didn't know this.
You know, I will tell you an interesting fact. We use a Cyrillic alphabet, you know. Do you know that actually a Cyrillic alphabet was invented by two Bulgarian monks in medieval times?
Really?
Yeah, actually Bulgaria was...
So how, my question was, how do you say the Freedom Friends in Bulgarian?
Freedom Friends?
Yeah.
Приятели на свободата.
Yes.
Yes.
I need
And
that
on
for, I want that for my
just
ringtone.
agree with that. Just agree with that. You don't need to understand it, but just agree with it.
You know
Boys,
what?
I'm going to raise my glass.
I'm going to get this guy to write that down. That's going to be the next T-shirt for the Freedom Friends.
Fucking A, dude. There you go. I'm going to say thanks for being my freedom friends.
Thank you.
Cheers, Rossen.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on,
Rossen,
brother.
an absolute
Or
pleasure.
cheers in Bulgarian. Na zdrave.
Na strave.
Zdravie.
There it is. Like, share, subscribe, smash those buttons, kids. Tell your mom.
Tell your friends.
Tell your fucking mom's friends. God damn it. It's not ass-eating season, but butthole scarves are still the thing. And there's some people out here looking. I'm not going to blow their spot up quite yet. And,
My last night says otherwise.
hey. Once again, it's brought to you by warfightertobacco.com. Use that code FTFO. Score yourself that sweet 15% off. warfightertobacco.com. And then, of course,
wellness.us.
wellness.us.
There you
We're
go.
going to get a Freedom Friends 25. Get yourself a quarter off your order over there. And Icy Tech coolers. Go to icytech.com and you can use code Freedom Friends 10. Get yourself 10% off.
And go check out TPC.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, check out
And
this
don't
class. that's
forget
coming.
also Prime Combat Training and Tactical Rifleman. By the way, we have a unique synergy with Prime Combat Training. Right now we are putting a series of classes that are super, super interesting because we're creating synergy between the marksmanship, the ability to shoot really fast and accurate, with the combative skills. That's Imre's zen over there.
Absolutely.
He's a master in that. So
I
that's
thought the method
that's
was
a super
I
unique
kick you in the
combination.
junk, 2 to the chest.
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, more is more. So five in the chest, 2, 3 in the head,
So
And then you kick
2
them
to
in
the
nuts.
junk,
See, I've been doing
2
it.
to the chunk, 5 to the chest.
I've been doing it all
and
wrong.
then stop it with
Am I
knife.
fucked up?
Right.
I've been doing it all wrong.
okay.
all
And
the
then set
time.
them on fire.
I
Right?
do 2 to the chest and then kick him in the junk.
And then 3 more, just to make sure.
You know what, bro? I think it's all deadly. I think it's all deadly. So yeah.
Wait a minute, where does the,
I don't know what I'm doing here with such a violent people. I don't know.
am I still allowed a teabag afterwards?
I'd be mad if you didn't.
Oh, okay, just making
Jesus. So yeah. You know, 3 little things, small little pieces of advice that we like to live by around here.
It's
Jazz,
philosophy, to be
It
honest
is
with you.
it really
It's
is.
philosophy. If you, so the first piece of philosophy we're going to hit you with today. Are you ready? Smoke on.
Scotty?
Drink on.
God
go.
damn it, boys.
Freedom the fuck on.
We'll see you next time.